Hello and welcome to the Third Space Podcast, episode number 43, Country or Crock. You probably already know what the episode is about if you listened to our previous episode titled Rap or Crap. And yes, in this episode, I do the same game that I did with rap, but this time with country music. So I have a bunch of country songs that I've found, and two of them are real country songs, and then one of them I wrote a country song, and I present them to Daniel, and we try to trick him and see if he can determine which one is mine. It's very fun. I have a really fun time writing the country songs, and country is definitely a genre that you can parody or mimic really easily. So I had a great time doing this, and even though I had to subject myself to minutes of country songs in order to make this work. Before we get into the actual country or crock segment, we do this or that, which is why the title is called Country or Crock, sort of. It's the game where I present two different words, and Daniel has to, on gut instinct, choose between them and then explain why later. So it's just kind of a fun little game that spawns off little talking points. It's a good time. So first half is this or that, second half is country or crock, and I had a lot of fun with this episode. Unfortunately, at the very end of the episode, Daniel's hard drive totally filled up, so he couldn't record anymore. So really an annoying technical problem, but luckily it was basically at the end, so I round things off with a conclusion, and then it's over. So with that, I will let the episode begin. I hope you enjoy.
Welcome
to the Third Space
Podcast
with Daniel and Bennett.
Oh, you should have said just one of our names.
Oh yeah, I should have
Whatever.
said with Daniel, and you should have said with
Bennett, which would have been odd, but I like that I came first though. I think that pretty much says everything with Daniel and Bennett.
Yeah, usually it's Bennett and Daniel, but I decided to be magnanimous.
Do you think that Daniel and Bennett flows better than Bennett and Daniel, or is it truly because syllable counts are the same? It's just is there an argument to be made? Because you remember the Keenan and Kel show? Like we can all agree that Keenan and Kel, yes, not Kel and Keenan.
Right.
That just doesn't flow. But can you make a case? And I don't know how you even justify that, by the way. Is it just a phone aesthetic, the beauty of
there's phone aesthetics, whether the ending of one word flows into the beginning of the next. And I don't think with Bennett and or Daniel and, I don't think there's much difference. I think the only real argument you could make is alphabetical order.
The L is easier to get to and. If you wanted to enunciate Bennett and Daniel, Daniel and Bennett, it actually will say Daniel and Bennett. It flows easier, the L to the A to the Daniel and Bennett.
Well, I guess there's the question, do you want it to flow easier? Like, do you want it to mush together, or do you want the names to be distinct? Bennett and kind of makes it clear that it's distinct. Daniel and, you're like, what is that? What is a Daniel land?
It's like a really cool place where there's a bunch of Daniels. It's Daniel and.
Oh wow, I want to see the typewriter, mommy. No, let's go look at the phonographs.
Yeah. I want to ride on the brick wall.
Ooh, poetry recital.
There's a spiral staircase. The spiral staircase of doom. I don't know.
Oh, very funny. It's been a while since we did this or that. Do you want to play this or that?
Yes.
It's a nice, quick...
Aren't you glad I said yes?
I'm glad you said yes, because otherwise it would have thrown my entire existence into disarray. Yeah, it's a nice, easy game. Kind of fun. I don't know. I find it almost like a psychological experiment in some ways. That's probably
like
why.
An ink blot test of what?
Yeah, the Rorschach test.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire test. So yeah, pretty fun. You wanna do it?
Yeah, remind me. Obviously, I choose quickly. Do we do a bunch of them and then go back and will you make note of what I chose? Is that fine? Is that okay?
Yep. Yeah, that's
so. I'm just going. I'm going gut. Like
you're going gut.
Check.
It's important not to consciously think too much.
This is so hard for me, by the way, to not think.
Right. Well, it's difficult because Well, what's all right? So the way it works, I have 15 pairs of words, or phrases, I guess. 15 pairs, and I'm gonna give you two of them really quick, this or that, and you have to choose quickly which
Quickly.
one.
And it's not a
And
speed contest, or else I'll just
no,
say the first one you
no,
said.
no, no.
I should make a choice consciously. I just shouldn't
Yeah,
reason all the way through. That's
the
all.
the difficulty is that I don't provide you the metric by which you're evaluating these two things. So if I said, okay, I'm going to ask you which do you like better, this or that, and I said, cheese or tomatoes, then now you know the metric. It's which one is
Yes, and
better.
I would say
But
cheese is yes, but
yeah, but the metric isn't given to you, and as you'll see and have seen in previous ones, sometimes the two things you don't know what metric to choose. And so what's really interesting to me is what metric do you choose? And that's, when we go back and talk about them, you can tell me how you chose between the two
okay.
things. So,
Okay, let's do it.
all right. Let's kick it off. All right, this or that. Tongue or toes?
Tongue.
Jungle gym or slide?
Slide.
Hacking or skateboarding?
Skateboarding.
Machete or sledgehammer?
Machete.
Bodybuilder or bank robber?
Bodybuilder.
Hammock or blanket?
Blanket.
Emily or Michelle?
Michelle.
Penguin or cactus?
Cactus.
Cheerleaders or newscasters?
Cheerleaders.
Clock or pyramid?
Pyramid.
Crescendo or denouement?
Crescendo.
Abraham Lincoln or Dale Earnhardt?
Abraham Lincoln.
Sand or grease?
Sand. That was a tough one. It's weird to say something's tough.
Robot or ghost?
Robot.
Wind or fire?
Fire.
All right, that's it.
Some of these I'm going to have to almost... Yeah, anyway.
I don't know. I didn't know what to pick. I just picked one.
No, I probably have reasons and I can unearth them. I just... you don't want the metric to be what's your favorite. Like if that's
Sure.
the kind of an odd... So anyway,
I mean,
let's
that's
do this.
valid.
Let's unpack
It's
them.
just not as interesting.
Right.
All right, so tongue or toes? You picked tongue. Why?
I think I picked tongue if I had to have them missing.
Oh, okay.
I would rather have my taste, but theoretically, I mean, I don't know if you fall over without your toes if they're important for balance. I'm guessing they are more important. Maybe they're not as
Yeah.
important.
I think
But
they're probably pretty important.
But you could walk. I'm assuming you could adapt, even if you got prosthetic something additional, something so that you were not falling over, and then a tongue, presuming you could still eat if you eat with it, or without it, but taste would be gone, and so it just kind of went I don't want to lose. There was this weird moment of I don't want to lose my tongue, so toes, I don't want to lose those either. However, I just want the tongue more. It's more important.
Okay. Jungle gym or
is there any do you respect that metric?
I do. Sure.
Is there any?
No, that's
do you have
fair.
any value judgment on that?
Well, I was hoping you would go with which is sexier, but you didn't choose toes, so. No, that's a fine metric. Which would you rather keep? Which do you find more valuable in a way? Which is probably.
And I can't control how deep I am on these, right? Kind of the
course
point
not.
is what did I assign to it instinctually?
Yeah, I think that is a pretty expected instinctual judgment. Tongue or toes. Which would you rather? Which do you value more? So that makes sense.
Yeah. So the curious areas are if I came up with an unusual metric, but we'll see if I did. Let's keep going.
Jungle gym or slide? Pretty basic. Basic one here.
Yeah. My initial, and I chose
You
slide.
chose slides.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, a jungle gym, can that mean several things? Like what
I don't know.
if I
I
said
mean,
draw a jungle gym, or if you Google image jungle gym, what do you get? I
I
mean,
mean,
what?
I imagine the elementary school that we both went to. There was this big yellow dome of bars. Do you remember? Or wait, no, that wasn't at the school. That was at the playground in my grandparents' neighborhood. Actually, a big yellow dome of bars. It kind of
Right.
looked like Epcot, kind of, but smaller and just made of bars, and you can just climb on it. Very dangerous.
They're triangular, I guess,
Yes.
or at least the way I think of it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I dig, and very dangerous. Just metal, and like
Pretty
it's
high up.
almost designed to like fall and get caught in, and kind of hard to balance on anyway. Like it makes me wonder, is that something they build anymore for
No.
like kids playgrounds?
Jungle
Almost certainly
gym
not.
companies have they're really falling on hard times.
So what are like so monkey bars are
Probably the
the
same
just the
thing, right?
no,
Or no,
it's the
monkey
few
bars.
steps up and you hold
Yeah,
on and you just like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
one arm, or you try once you get a little older you try and skip a bar.
Yes,
You
yeah,
know,
you're right. Yeah, those are monkey bars. Jungle gym. I think jungle gym might be a little more freeform. It doesn't have to be the dome thing. It's just kind of any collection of dangerous bars and things to climb on. It's like a jungle gym.
that's what I meant. Is like, is there just a definite? And I've Googled image it right now, and I'm getting a lot of the domes we're talking about. Then I'm getting your basic playground sets with slides, and then I'm also getting some rectangular looking jungle gyms. Anyway, so slides, this is a boring metric again, I guess. It's just which did I enjoy more, and if I were to have an elaborate one as an adult, I I don't know if this is even true, but that did pop in my head is like, oh, like an amazing, cool adult slide, whether it's a water slide or something major to your house versus like a jungle gym's just strictly for kids. But I feel like you theoretically have a slide that if you have the right slide, you could put old people on a slide. It's gentle. It's an ageless thing.
Yeah.
But jungle gyms are like 4-6-year-olds who have their first encounter breaking a bone.
Yeah.
Like it's like, here, have your first broken bone. Welcome to reality, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like you can put old people on a slide. It's
I was
really
just
funny.
thinking like it doesn't
You probably
I mean,
shouldn't. Probably shouldn't
well,
do that, but you
and
could.
not if you did it right. Like if you took an escalator upstairs and you're in a fancy building, and then they just gently go down, and and there's a big cushion at the end. It just slides them right to a gentle, and then like maybe. My point is like that doesn't
Yeah.
require. I'm
You're
not
right.
saying they have to climb something and then precariously
Yep.
balance and then dumps them out on their butt. Like not like that. That's like
So, what? So, all right. I tend to agree with you. Although jungle gym could be seen as an adventure, it's almost like an obstacle course in a way. It gives you a free form. It gives you a decision. How do I want to get from this end of the jungle gym to that end of the jungle gym? And so that's kind of exciting. Whereas a slide, you're at the mercy of gravity, and you get on at point A and you end at point B, unless your slide goes terribly wrong.
Jungle Gym can be creative. You're right. It's an adventure. Also, the alliteration is just fun.
That's fun.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of fun. It's a more exciting name.
It is.
Slide, you could consider. Is that onomatopoeia and to some degree? Slide. Like the word itself slides. I don't know.
Maybe a little.
But so honestly, I feel like saying jungle gym would have been the cooler answer. So I'm a little disappointed in myself. But I went
Yeah.
with slide, and I'm sticking to it, man.
Okay.
For
It's
the
not what you
reasons
want to
I
do with a
outlined.
slide. Yeah. Hacking and skateboarding. You chose skateboarding.
Again, I'm a little surprised at myself for saying that because hacking, if you were to divide, okay, so there's a physical divide. There's like on one hand, you have the intellectual edginess, and then that's hacking, obviously,
Yes.
and skateboarding is the more physical edginess.
Yes, that was the metric that I had in mind was edginess, but I didn't know which you would choose.
And I went with skateboarding in my mind, it's like I'm magically an expert in one, and in reality, or like there's more utility in hacking and probably prestige, or definitely prestige. I mean, the best hacker in the world and the best skateboarder in the world. But if you're looking for party tricks and just being sort of a social, like I want attention, which is what the metric I was applying. I was like, I
Yeah.
could impress some people with skateboarding, and so
But you
like
don't want to
that's my,
do buffer overflow exploits at parties. Come on.
I mean, my success with that in the past is limited. So, so I would, so if I had more time to think, I'm choosing hacking by almost any metric I apply. But skateboarding was the one that came out of my mouth because I guess there's some part of me that would like I place a greater premium on the party trick phenomenon. Like, can I hold people's attention and like feel good about that? That's what it says about me anyway. My choice
Right,
here is that was what I chose because of that reason in a really quick way. If I'm honestly being more thoughtful, I'm choosing hacking, but by any metric I can devise. But yeah, that was my instinct, is to choose the party trick.
So that probably applies for the next one too, then, between machete and sledgehammer.
Um, I'm not sure I follow, but machete, well, is cool and slick and shiny and sing, and you're like going through the jungle and you're chopping things down. And a sledgehammer is yeah, it's brute force and muscle, and there's both. If you said draw a dude with a machete, like if it was a really great comic book sketch artist who could draw really cool things quickly, and you asked for both of those things, a dude with a sledgehammer and a
You
dude
get
with
two
a
cool, you get two really cool characters.
yeah, I feel like I'm imagining a John Henry type with the sledgehammer, very muscular, probably wearing a vest. But you might get this something similar with the machete. I picture a little bit leaner. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but a little more ninja-esque, a little more finesse. Someone who would, yeah, more finesse and artsiness to it, and a little, and the other one's kind of the brute force sledgehammer. And so, also. But there's an entirely different metric of utility on like a desert island tool, or you've been dropped off in the middle of wherever. You get one tool with you. I'm choosing
Yeah,
machete
machete.
easily because it's both a weapon and a tool, and a sledgehammer is as well, I suppose.
Yeah, but it's more unwieldy than a machete for sure.
Right.
And yeah, desert island situation, you probably don't need to sledgehammer anything that much, but a machete, would come in handy in multiple ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good
And-
metric. That's solid.
Yeah. So
Bodybuilder and bank robber. You chose bodybuilder. Party trick again.
yes, or just like, which would I rather be? There's a moral issue with the bank robbing. If I could click a, yeah, if I just was magically assigned, I am now either like an expert bank robber or an expert bodybuilder, and like the bodybuilder also, there's just no moral culpability. I mean, a bank robber, it's kind of simple that a bank robber is, in my mind, like, this is oversimplified, but bad, and bodybuilding is generally good. I mean, I think there's probably, if I watched a documentary on bodybuilding, I'm sure there's a dark side to like body image issues, or taking illegal substances, or the effects it has over long term. I mean, I could imagine some studies showing that bodybuilders die earlier because of the strains they, whatever. But in general, an emphasis on health and having muscles and looking good is a net positive, I think. And bank robbery, that's bad. like you're stealing money. It's just immoral, pretty clearly in the lines of, you
Yeah.
can get into arguments and all of this, but I think you're in this intellectual exercise of justification if you're trying to say, oh, a bank robbery is not that bad, like, okay,
No, you're
just
clearly
being
right.
so,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
clearly, if your metric is morality, then bodybuilder is the superior choice.
Well, it's hard when you say one thing that is, I would say, amoral, bodybuilding, and then you say something that is immoral. Like, it's hard not to put that metric insists itself up in the situation. Like, it
What if
rises to the.
I mean, there are many metrics that you can use.
You're
compare
right,
the
but that's
two.
such a strong morality is so strong. If I
That's
said
true, yeah.
killing babies or cheeseburgers, geez, like, like, I'm sorry, but there's a very clear, like, one's bad and one's,
Yeah, but
well,
if the
in my,
metric, you're right. But if the metric was, which would I want to read a story about, bodybuilding or bank robbing, probably
yeah,
bank
no,
robbing.
good point, good point. I'd choose that as well. Or if I said to you, killing babies or pickles,
Oh, tough
like,
choice
one
by any
appears
metric.
amoral, but,
Yeah, but pickles are really bad. So, all right. Next was hammock or blanket, and you chose blanket. Didn't expect this from you, to be honest. Didn't expect this one.
I thought about it today. Like, it's simply the immediacy of cool weather is starting to creep in,
Okay.
and I recently watched. There's a very cheesy YouTuber called like the Deal Guy, and he had one of these clickbait videos that said that 10 items in October to buy at Costco, and
And you watched it, of course.
I did, because well, what I appreciate is it's not a big long advertising list. He's all about like quick, here are good deals and why, like, and it's fast. And one of them was like a 10 foot by 10 foot very soft blanket for $30, and that is cheap in the realm of oversized blankets.
How many
And
way stretch was it?
I don't know. I don't think it was stretchy.
Oh,
What a ripoff. But the point is, it was just like I'm in the market currently for, or considering, okay, having moved from Florida to North Carolina, it's
it's a
cool.
lot colder. You're
It's a
basically in the
lot colder.
Arctic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I am not prepared for cold weather, and today was one of these 50-degree days, and I was very. I got under a blanket and I thought, man, it's a very nice feeling, because in Florida I haven't experienced this. Like, it is cold outside, but it's warm under this blanket, and it's very comfortable.
Yes,
And
that's
then I
true.
was just thinking of a hammock being at this moment, because usually
Exposed.
when I picture one, there's the parachute one, but I think everyone, when you just say hammock, you picture
The
the
rope
net,
one.
yeah, the
Yeah, the
rope
net.
one, the white rope one kind of thing, and in the summer that's pleasant because the breathability, I guess, is hard, it's unparalleled. It's like almost all air underneath you, but that would not be pleasant while I'm cold and all of that. So yeah, just went with blanket. Now, if you were to back up and just say, like, again, when you talk about adventure, so what I love about hammocks is they connote both adventure and relaxation to me, because I picture them being in exotic spots, or you have the parachute one that you can hang up on while camping. And
Yep.
so I really think that although I'm not a hammock person, so there's that much, I that's appealing to. It's the best of both worlds. Do you want to relax, and do you want to be on an adventure? Like, yes, I do. I want my cake and eat it too, kind of thing. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think.
I thought you would choose hammock for that reason. It's kind of this vaguely hipster thing. Like I can see, I can easily imagine people putting up hammocks in um, unusual places and enjoying them, and that seems to fall kind of under your umbrella of interest. Like I could easily see you doing that, or if not doing that, then just romanticizing the idea of doing that. And so I thought that you would pick hammock for that reason. Blanket is also kind of an everyday item. It's just around the house,
Pretty
whereas
boring,
hammock
yeah.
is a little bit more unique, a little bit more pizzazz.
Well, you're right. I mean, Danielle has this one that's made out of material based on, you can buy different ones and it'll be like, oh, this parachute material is military grade and it can hold thousands of pounds or what, and
Right,
it's
right.
super thin and lightweight and it's stretchy and it's all these things, and then these straps are sort of innovative, so it's got the tech element that appeals to me, that like hangs in 10 seconds and can support as much as the tree can hold, and all you have to do is this, and it's just these like contraptions with sort of like potentially a little bit more innovative than just tying a rope and having to figure out what knot to put. It's like, no, we have this cool like device that tightens,
Yeah.
and so yeah, there's a lot, and it's compact, because that parachute material, as you can imagine, can almost be like pocket sized.
Right.
So travel anywhere with it, and so all of these things, yes. So I'm a little surprised at myself, but it really is as simple as, I'm currently sort of chilly.
Right, right.
That's what it boils down to.
Makes sense. All right, Emily and Michelle. You chose Michelle. What's your problem with Emily?
No problem with Emily. This one's interesting because I know an Emily and a Michelle, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and in fact, the Emily and Michelle's that came to mind, I worked with at my previous school, and was friends with both of them, and like on good terms.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just simply closer with Michelle, and so. And in fact, it was like, oh, I'll go to, like, because Emily, I was just a lot. It was a lot more tangential, a lot more. It wasn't as often that I would talk to Emily. So at first, I thought, oh, I'm choosing Michelle because I, like, I'll be honest, like, just for that immediate second, I was like, I don't even really know an Emily. That just suggests the closeness of the relationships, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I do know an Emily. In fact, I know a couple of Emilys. It's a common name. I'd say they're both common names. I think that's probably why
Yeah.
you chose them, as both are. If I just separate the people from the names for a second, if that's possible, I'd
Mm-hmm.
say they're equally. Well, they're very common names, and they're like equally pretty, or like one's not far more beautiful or exotic or than the other.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so they're just good, solid, uh, even neutral maybe names for girls or women. And
Yes.
so, but I chose based on the relationships, not the because all those are almost. I really am hard pressed to say which one I like more as a name. Do you have a preference?
Not really. I mean, yeah, that's why I chose them is because they're pretty comparable in all ways. Uh, and so I figured with just names, you would pick people you knew who had the names, whether famous people or personal
Yeah, it was definitely
acquaintances.
personal. I'm not. I don't tend, and we've talked about this before. My quick thing on like celebrities. I think that there's. I think frequently adults still have like this idea of celebrity crushes. Like I had a celebrity crush on say Britney Spears when I was a kid, but that was almost like I'm hitting puberty. She was a pop star and like she was almost like fantasy category, you know.
Right.
Um, and so I definitely get this idea, and I the allure of the celebrity crush is it's kind of this fun, exciting thing, but I am not capable of having that now, and I think a lot of adults still do, and it's still fun, and I don't know if it's just me being a little am I not creative enough or am I too mature? I don't think it's either of those things, by the way. I just am not wired in a way. Like, of course, there might be a celebrity that I find attractive and I enjoy their work. And she, like, Natalie Portman or someone like that. Like, okay, physically attractive to me. I like the stuff she's been in. Uh, but I don't know. I don't have this sort of ongoing like maybe when I see an advertisement with her for a trailer or something, I go, cool, I like this. I kind of want to see this more because of her. But I certainly don't. I think the crush level enters in where there's just like you're thinking about them occasionally. You seek them out to learn more or something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have it at all.
Yeah,
So I'm
I
just
don't
very
either.
unlikely to go that route. Like if you say pick a name like that, I just am 100% more likely to go toward the like, all right, who do I know? Who do I know? Kind of thing.
But it could have easily have been names of authors or something,
Oh, true, true.
which you might have some association with, even if it's not celebrity,
It doesn't
celebrity
have to be
crush kind of
crush, I
thing.
suppose. It doesn't have to go into crush territory. It could just be, yeah, you're right. Like if my favorite author was Emily Bronte, like I don't know,
Is that
the
your
Bronte
favorite author?
sisters. No, she's not.
Yeah, me either. All right. The next one was penguin or cactus. This one took you a while.
Yeah, this one was tough.
You chose cactus.
Yeah, I lived in Arizona, and so
So that's why you chose it because it's more familiar to you.
just familiarity. Uh,
I mean, I thought that potentially that might have been why you chose cactus.
it mostly is because it stumped me because well, first of all, I was trying to stop myself from thinking too much because I was like, these are interesting because clearly you've got water world and like desert land and
Right.
then I started and I realized at this point if I'm going I'm actually thinking about why you chose them, then I'm sort of disrupting the exercise. So that's when I just went and then I just chose Cactus for the pretty dumb reason of like, but I will say that right before choosing, um, I mean, I've not seen penguin documentaries. You know, what's the one with Morgan Freeman, the penguin, Happy Feet,
Penguins.
maybe, or I don't know. Is it just?
I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah.
But I've heard some interesting things about penguins. I really like them at zoos. I like watching them swim. I like watching them waddle around. They're cute. So they're actually pretty high up there in my enjoyment of animals. So, and I like animals. So it is a little weird that the image of
Yeah, and cactuses are the opposite, right? They're
sharp
prickly
and
and
yeah, I don't want to
rough.
own a cactus. Like I like
Yeah.
plants, and I don't gravitate toward cacti. And cacti are well, they were more majestic than I thought. I was shocked living in Tucson where I would see, and I'm not exaggerating, like 20-foot tall cacti, like the giant, basically tree-sized. I mean, I have some pictures of them where I mean, me standing there, and you'd have to almost do a wide-angle lens if you couldn't just walk up, take a picture at regular picture-taking distance, and get the whole thing in the photo. So, and they would just be on these mountainsides and gorgeous views, and so I don't have, yeah, my metric was familiarity, and like that comforted me, and that when I'm saying it out loud, the choice was not horrible because the majestic cactus is pretty neat. If you had the sun kind of setting at the right angle on this giant cactus with the hundreds and hundreds or thousands peppering the mountainside, pretty neat. Whereas like a majestic picture of a
Penguins,
penguin, I
yeah,
mean,
they're
I don't
just
know.
like waddling around, like probably crapping everywhere, and honking or doing whatever penguins do. Pretty annoying compared to a
Well,
majestic
would you
cactus.
rather have I mean, picture a really cool piece of art or a photograph. I should say photograph instead of a piece of art of a penguin or a cactus on my wall. I'd be more inclined to do the cactus.
Yeah, me too. I'd
Getting
rather
into
choose
art, I don't
cactus.
know. Art like can do some weird stuff and cool. You could have a really weird, cool penguin that I might
You
really
could.
enjoy. So
Oh, if you had to choose one for a villain of your superhero movie, probably choose penguin.
maybe. I mean, who would ever do that though? So
Too far fetched. Cheerleaders and newscasters. You chose cheerleaders. You sexist. You
or
misogynist.
or misandrist, depending on like what do you like. I chose the well. I mean, I guess I'm assuming. Well, wait.
What was your metric?
Which would I rather look at?
Okay, exactly. All right. So I was right. Okay, the obvious. I mean, yeah, that's obviously going to be your gut
Yeah,
metric,
but you
right?
said that assuming that newscasters are male and or maybe not, but and that like you can
Not
have
really. It's
there are
just.
male cheerleaders and female
I mean, have you
newscasters.
ever seen like the like Spanish channel
Oh yeah,
newscasters?
they're very sexualized
Super
newscasters.
hot
Yeah, yeah.
newscasters. Like those guys are something else. No, I'm just kidding. But I
Most
mean, yeah.
tailored suits, the
I mean,
colors.
I mean, cheerleaders are stereotypically, like
Yeah, I mean,
attractive. So
fit women in choreographed movements, like and perky. Like I mean, I don't know, just like that's.
I mean, not
But
to mention that like you're exposed to cheerleaders when you're a teenager, in school, and so that
yeah,
just gives you all the more reason to
I think
associate
too.
that.
If you're just giving me those two words, there's excitement around cheerleading, like the association of cheerleading and sports and activity and fun and just like all of that is really positive. Like newscasters and newscasting, like news is serious
Boring.
and
Yeah.
yeah, bland and boring and yeah, and so I mean the metric. Obviously, there's a lot of metrics. Which would
Yeah.
I rather would pursue as a career? Would be a different answer. Which if I
You
like,
could also, if maturity was your metric, then
yeah,
cheerleaders are
yeah.
kind of immature. Newscasters are mature, I suppose.
And so and this isn't the ultimate metric that this or that measures is what am I drawn to, and then the question is why am I drawn to it more, and that's when you unearth the metric you were using. So
Right.
I guess this would say like yeah, it's kind of what you've posed, and on some level, at least to me, and it was serious or fun and lighthearted, and I just went with a more fun, lighthearted. Yeah.
Fair. Clock and pyramid. You chose pyramid. I think I would have done the same.
Yeah. If you said let's have a discussion on clocks, or if you said let's have a discussion on pyramids, uh, I just pyramids are at least a little more unknown to me. They're a little less familiar. There's this whole like did aliens help build the Great Pyramids? This sort of the structure can be fairly unbelievable apparently. Like if you start to get into how the heck did they do this, there's mysteries surrounding it. If you had said watches, now we're talking a little more fashion, and like you can
Right.
pique my interest a little more that way. Clocks, when you just said the word clocks, for me it was I know what they are. Uh, I would be pretty bored if I were at a party and let's assume a really charismatic person, one comes up to me and talks about clocks, and they've been a watchmaker and they understand the gears and like how like it's incredible that they can keep time over years and keep within seconds of accuracy, or and this clockmaker was known for developed, and they did a good job like telling me like I could be interested. I mean, if you have a good storyteller, I'm going to be interested in anything.
Right.
But that, or the person who actually knows their stuff about pyramids and can like tell a convincing narrative about how they're really like they're not being conspiratorial and saying, oh, it's definitely aliens. They're just saying we do not have enough information to understand. Like what it suggests is that this civilization was more advanced than we gave credit, right? If the Egyptians could do this, like what missing pieces do we not have from their background? Like isn't this fascinating? Isn't this a cool historical like missing component we just don't understand? And like that is more interesting. I'm more likely to watch a documentary on that than clocks. I
Clocks.
mean, come on, clock. It's
Right.
basically boring or exciting again, I
Well,
guess.
I wasn't sure if maybe, I say clock, yeah, okay, and then pyramid, if you would retroactively cast clock as like Big Ben or, some other landmark structure or something, and then have kind of a new choice in front of you,
Interesting. I did
which it doesn't,
not.
doesn't sound
You could
like
you
you
could.
did.
I mean, that's an interesting thing to say, but yeah, with the word clock, it's very for me. It remained completely sterile and boring. And there are 12. You know, e- every hour of the day is on it, and like what it does. It's a
Yeah.
timekeeping device. Although opening up the discussion of time and what does that mean, that gets really interesting quickly for me as well.
Well, I mean, if your metric is utility, then clocks, obviously are more useful than pyramids,
Yes,
in
yes,
most circumstances. So, but
and
yeah,
you're
I
right
think
about that.
I think I would have chose pyramid as well, just because they're really striking structures. They look cool, and clocks, yeah, they're just not as interesting. I mean, I think I probably find clocks more interesting than you do. I don't know, but I mean, I think they're engineering marvels, but the pyramids are too in a different way. And pyramids they're just cooler looking. So,
Yeah.
crescendo and denouement, or as you like to call it, denouement.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Which you chose crescendo, which kind of surprised me. I thought you might choose denouement, but you didn't. You chose crescendo.
It's interesting that I quickly linked. I think you saying denouement made me recast. You talk about recasting, but it
Mm,
helped me recast crescendo, which obviously a musical term, and in some ways the climax, right? The
yes,
building and
right.
the climax or the
The
untying of
loud
the knot.
moment.
The
Yeah.
denouement is the ending,
Yes.
and so but the loud versus the sort of a conclusion.
Yes.
So what crescendo did in that case is, yeah, instead of just saying crescendo, obviously I think music and the big build, the big moment. But when you said denouement, then I thought climax instead. I thought it made me recast crescendo. In some ways, I think of crescendo. You say loud crescendo. You say the crash, the or the there's something a little more chaotic, I would say. And in that regard, it's exciting, and the climax, and we are intrigued. So if you were to break down the whole classic how do stories unfold, the the building of the story, the rising action is the majority of any story. The asking of questions, the tension, the mystery, the suspense, and all of that is what makes the climax the climax. You can't have the climax in all of its full effect without the building of it. Like, you have to have it. You have to have the pressure boiling, and then I would say the denouement, the falling action, the untying of the knot, all of that is necessary. I mean, you could argue it's not even as necessary. It needs something. You need the cap. You can't just end, or else you're just going, what? But you would be left with saying, but like, what are they doing now? Where are they now? What's going on now? How has the character changed? Are they different? Are they the same? Did they revert back to their ways? What was the aftermath of this major moment? So yes, you need that, but we live for the crescendo. Like, we're drawn in and we're paying attention, not for the denouement, but for the crescendo, and so or for the climax. It's the good stuff, the goodie of the story. So yeah, I recast it as the goodie of the story, but I don't know. I stuck with what I like more. So
It's also they're also fun aesthetically interesting. Crescendo and denouement. I think crescendo is probably a little better.
denouement sounds
More fun
smarter
aesthetic.
if you're going for, like, I want to sound smart, and
Yes.
I think they both sound fairly smart, right? Like, crescendo, I don't know,
Yeah.
though. It's not as sophisticated. Denouement, I think if you were to take your average adult, 85% know what crescendo is. Denouement, we might be getting down to like 70, 60. I don't know.
Oh, I think it would be
Actually,
more
I'm
than
bad.
that.
I'm bad at estimating
I
this.
think it would be less than half would know what denouement is,
Okay, yeah.
and I think
So then
crescendo you might even be
Okay, so
pushing it
yeah,
at 60 or 70.
but we agree there's a gap, like way
Yeah,
more
there's a
no
gap.
crescendo,
Right.
and so yeah, so you're right. If I'm doing the whole population, I don't know, but the point is,
People are dumb, man.
denouement sounds smarter, and the French the sound of it, it just sounds a little more pretentious. So
Abraham Lincoln and Dale Earnhardt, two great presidents. You chose Abraham Lincoln.
I yes, I thought for a moment. So my gut reaction is, of course, Abraham Lincoln. Is there? Can I quickly come up, like, can I, significance, whatever metric I was.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I went, and then I thought, can I cleverly, like, is there a reason I should say Dale Earnhardt? And I didn't want to think too deeply again, so I went ahead and
Yep,
just
yeah, just
went
said
back
it.
to my answer. And I could not, in my briefest stuff, I was like, this is funny. It would almost be funny to say Dale, but I feel like I'm not trying to be, I'm trying to remain with my gut check being
No,
real.
good.
If
Good.
I say Dale Earnhardt, then I'm not honoring this exercise. It would have just been, what would you call that? Just being
Yeah, contrarian kind of.
yeah, anti-contrarian. Or just contrarian,
Yeah,
anti-contrarian.
I'm an anti-contrarian, just so you know. I'm against all of those contrarians.
I'm so yeah. Anti-contrarians are very funny.
That's a
I'm
funny
just very
label.
straight-laced and boring, and like I never fight anything. So man, my Siri is being crazy. Sorry, it's talking out loud and stuff. Yeah, no. So I don't know what metric to give Dale Earnhardt. Even, like, I mean, you could just be like, I'd rather watch. Obviously, you could come up with some. Who would you rather watch race cars? Like, I'd probably still choose Abe Lincoln. Like interesting. More culturally significant. Held a
both
more important
both died
position.
before their time.
Both did die before their time. That is
you
true,
couldn't
and both
use
died
that.
in office, so to speak, or actually,
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the height, I suppose, of
line
their
of duty.
importance in the line of duty. it just what yeah, I'm just hard pressed for
Yeah,
Dale learn how, like. So what was your reason for even saying those two?
I
Like
don't know.
what?
I just tried to think of two kind of famous people in very different arenas. And I don't know, just wanted to. I just
If
found
you
them to
chose
be
a
two
personal
interesting
select,
people.
yeah, you're right, and neither of which I'm a scholar on and couldn't tell you a whole lot about. I guess I could still tell you more about Abe Lincoln, and yeah, I don't know, but
All
it
right.
just there's just that one's just clear, Abe Lincoln.
Yep. Sand and grease. This one you paused for a while on, but you chose sand ultimately. So why?
They I don't have a great one for the. My first thought was, oh, they're both so annoying to deal with. If I had sand
Yeah.
all over me, I would be immensely annoyed. And I was like, oh, but that's absolutely true of grease, and grease would be more, grease would disgust me more.
Yeah.
If I had sand all over me, I would think I quickly have to shower off. If I had grease all over me, I would the urgency would be intense. I would be more like I would be on the border of freaking out. Like, no, 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 I have to get clean versus the sandiness. I'm immensely annoyed and this needs to be a top priority. But the other one, if I'm greased, I might be like taking off my clothes in public. Like, I know it's kind of extreme, but like, no, no, like I mean, this is immediate. This is like the equivalent of like insisting, go get a hose now kind of thing. Grease, and then you could get into the utility, like beaches. I am at least in theory pro beach. I think they're gorgeous. Like they. I mean, if you're a place with the best beaches in the world, your economy is typically healthy. This is how much people love beaches. You can build towns around them. You can build economies around them. Beaches and seeing the water and all of it. Like it's clearly of significance to human beings to have some leisure time around water, and that's one of the best ways collectively to do so. But again, like I'm actually when I get there, I don't know what to do with myself. I like walking on the beach, but then I really hate that moment of leaving the beach and like you wet your feet. Hopefully, you're leaving in a place where you
Yeah.
can wet your feet, but then your feet are wet, and it's just a
Yeah.
really annoying
I
ordeal.
agree. Yeah.
But grease, well, grease is also necessary to make. I mean, almost anything runs smoothly. Anything with an
Hmm.
engine. So they're both. I mean, I guess grease would be more. If you just snapped your fingers and we had no sand, and you snapped your fingers and no more grease, I think the grease would be more of a significant loss. Uh, all these engines and things having
Yeah.
trouble. Um, but I still just went with sand is going like beaches are pleasant places. I don't need and I would rather be covered in sand. I could deal with this fine sand more than I could deal with the grease. It was just that's just where my mind was. It was a very personal and selfish sort of
Right.
ew, but I can deal with the sand more.
Right. Fair enough. Robot and Ghost. You chose Robot. Why is that?
They're less scary. Well, I mean, they may not be existentially. They might be more terrifying. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
If well, one is real. Ghosts, like ghosts, you could unpack. Like, all right, let's define what you mean. Are we talking about spirit world? Are we talking about horror? Are we talking about Casper the Friendly Ghost, cartoonish? Are we talking about costumes? Are we talking about the culture of all things like metaphysical?
hmm
And then robots also it's pretty grand. What do we mean by robots? And both you could write horror stories easily. If you wrote a horror story about robots, it's going to tend to get the sci-fi label,
yeah.
interestingly enough. Whereas I mean, because a lot of
Yeah.
sci-fi has overlaps with horror when you think about it that way. So many
Yeah.
sci-fi things are dystopian in nature, and that dystopia has something horrific about it.
Yeah.
Uh, and so, but on the whole, I think the robots offer some positivities that ghosts don't. I'm not saying ghosts can reconnect you with old family members or something like that, or there can be a
Right.
friendly
Okay.
ghost who helps you solve a crime or something like that. But man, like overall, the stories that we collectively tell ourselves about robots, yes, they can take over humanity and there's an existential threat there, but they also just offer there's so much positivity. There's actually an argument about how are they good or are they bad. Ghosts
Yeah,
far
pretty much
far
lost
and
that
away are
argument.
pretty much, yes, they're
Bad.
pretty much lost. Like this is scary, and even those who argue they're not scary, the reverence you have is so like, okay, they could be bad, we have to be nice to them or else, kind of. So there's this doom and gloom underlying, whereas there's just more positivity to robots. And they, like, my dad's heart surgery he got a long time ago, robots did that. The mechanized things, like automated cars are robots essentially, and that's a really enthralling idea in the future. Just
Robots
yeah.
are going to replace teachers, but ghosts probably won't.
Oh my gosh, that just reminds me. I was listening to NPR on the quick aside, and like this was what threw me, and I need to go look up the article, and maybe we'll have a longer discussion about this in the future. So I won't go into too much detail, but the
Okay.
short of it was that this is for kindergartners and young kids, and there was this. They had named this robot who would teach social and emotional intelligence sort of
Well,
things. And so it was like a kindergarten teacher, and she would be like, go talk to Wally or whatever its name was. And you would hear it say like, hello kids, when you're feeling angry, take 3 breaths and try thinking about it. And like, probably like sound psychological advice. And the kids,
yeah.
I believe because of the novelty, would loved Wally time or whatever it was. And
Right, right.
when they would feel angry or upset, they would go get sent to like have their one-on-one or like small groups with Wally.
There we go. The
They
future is
loved
now.
it.
Future's
I
now.
found some.
Right now, it's emotional intelligence with Wally, and tomorrow it's going to be English literature with
Well, is it
robot
not?
robot
Like,
Daniel.
it makes way more sense for a robot teaching to say help you with your math tutoring or like show you like how some of these things happen. Then like that deeply disturbs me, is like, we're going to teach you about human emotions and intelligence, about how to connect with others through this robot. Like that's like the most antithetical area to say we're going to put robots in charge of helping kids with emotions. Like, that's so deeply weird to me. That's the weirdest place. That's the weirdest spot to me.
Yeah, I think it's weird, but here's a reason why it kind of makes sense. So humans, because we can feel emotions, we also have biases, and we're emotionally biased as well. And whereas a robot is very neutral, right? So it's almost kind of like a neutral ground from which to speak
I mean,
about anger or whatever other kind of emotional state. I still think it's weird. Like, it's
you're
weird
right.
because you can't a robot can't empathize with you, and so a robot can't form that personal connection and say, "Oh yeah, do you remember that time when this happened? What you were feeling then." They can't draw that connection, but they can't. But they're also neutral, so maybe they lack some of the drawbacks that a human teacher would
Well,
have.
it's you're right. I mean, it is like judges. The best, they had that sophisticated, and I'm gonna butcher this, but the sophisticated machine made better judgment calls than actual judges who've been doing their work for 30 whatever years, with regards to recidivism, or like, what punishments to dole out, like when it was the time for the judge to make the call. And because humans look in the eyes and go, this person really does feel remorse, and they make those mistakes all the time. But it's just strange. I mean, it would be analogous to saying the best chef in the world would be a computer, and it would just bother us. Like, it might actually be true. The most delicious dishes might come from whatever program it might put out, and then it just goes and it prepares this meal. But like, man, that just annoys me. Like, maybe I should just get over the fact that it annoys me.
You better.
But I want a human being. When you're talking about being a chef, fundamentally, like, the appreciation for the culinary arts and the creativity involved in that, I'm disturbed fundamentally that I guess I have to understand that robots and these sort of, they really are the result of so much humanity.
Yes,
being
that's
poured
what I was about
into
to
it.
say. You just need to abstract your attribution of creativity and humanity and whatever. Like, someone had to program the robots and create the robots and fill up their mechanical heads with, recipes
with
and
human
everything,
things.
human
Yes.
knowledge, right? I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that goes along with it that does kind of dilute that, but still, at the end of the day, even all of the doom and gloom about the singularity and AI taking over and robots and all of that is way overblown um based on my exposure to AI and all of that. Like it's still very requires humans to tune things and make things work. And then when they do work, they only work within very narrow um, parameters. So,
Right.
but
I mean, I
but
don't
that said,
actually feel
like
threatened by robots. I mean, maybe that's the point, though, is that you are right, but like maybe the turning point would happen and it would happen fast, and that might
yeah,
be the
that's what people
cautionary
say.
tale.
That's what people say, and it sounds like according to this, now it's at kindergarten, but before we know it, it'll be you'll be in an administrative position over robots
But I
or something.
suspect the novelty, the kids, the kids want to go see Wally or what. I'm making up the name, obviously, but they are like, yeah, Wally. But like, even in a year, do the kids still want to go see Wally, or is it just like we have this cool, expensive, weird-looking robot in our class? The novelty experience is high for humans. We just want to try it out once it's no longer
Yeah, I
cool. I
think
mean,
you're
I don't
probably
know.
right about the novelty factor for sure. All right, the last one was wind and fire, and you chose fire.
Yeah, if this were almost like a superpower and I could control wind or fire, and I didn't get to think long, I just immediately thought fire is uh, seems more powerful. I
Mm,
thought the desert island thing went like if I could harness fire, this is sort of I mean, fire is both life-giving and destroying, and there's a lot of symbolism with fire, but not just symbolic. It's like it really can bring warmth to save your life. It really
mm.
can
Burn down
um,
your house.
burn down your house. It can cook food and
Yeah,
sustain you that way. It's just so powerful. And wind can knock down your house. It can cool you off.
right.
It can. I mean, it just as an element. It's like Captain Planet where they had earth, wind, water, fire, and I always thought like wind kind of got the short end of the stick
Oh,
on
really?
that one.
I
That's how
thought
as a
I
kid I
thought
did anyway.
I thought you might choose wind just because if your metric is sensation, the sensation of wind, a nice cool breeze or something is pleasant, whereas the sensation, I mean, I guess warming up next to a fire is pleasant, but touching fire is not pleasant. So
No, but a
I wasn't sure.
crackling fireplace or if a candle scent was like wind, like
Yeah,
autumn
okay.
wind. I guess you could say autumn wind is appealing, but like I really, when I look at my candles, I look for like Ode de Wood or like amber musk, and
Yeah,
then anything
sure.
with wood and fire gets my interest. Usually, a synthetic fire smell is even if it's accurate, it's like I don't know that I really want my home to smell like this, but I still smell it. I get drawn to this idea. Probably with all the marketing, and they have feminine scents, and they've clearly put fire and these woodsy things in the
Right, right.
masculine, earthy scents, and I'm just a product of that marketing. But
Definitely.
I definitely. But like the wind, you're right. Wind is pleasant, but wind's just weak sauce. Fire. Cool. Like that's kind of what it came down to. And I know that's not like. I guess that's one of the things you can't ask me to do a gut check and then be upset that I went with like
Yeah, yeah.
cool or like I'm just drawn
No,
to this.
I'm
But
not upset.
so
I thought maybe, I thought maybe your metric would be a little different, but that makes sense. All
yeah,
right, that's this or that. Pretty fun.
yeah.
I really enjoy that, and like I wish there was a way for me to participate as well, but there's not really a way to do that. Um,
I could just create. I could do some work for once.
well,
That's a way.
that is true, yeah.
I don't know if
But
that's what you were hinting at.
no, that's not what I was hinting at. Like, but I just it's fun. I mean, it's fun to do it. It's fun to do it on my end, but but
Yeah,
but,
no,
but it's hard for me to like. I can't because it's a gut thing. I can't think about what I would choose. I mean, and have a good idea of it, because I'm thinking about it. It's conscious thought. It's not the same as, that quick gut reaction.
I think one of the reasons it's interesting, it's like you know me very well. You could probably have a basic list of get to know you questions and go ahead and fill them out for me and be accurate.
Yeah, I can't.
This or
It
that
doesn't
is
work
not
that
as
way.
predictable,
No.
and that actually in that way, like this keeps things fresh in long term relationships, and like it's just a fresh way of getting to know someone and going, oh, like
Yeah.
those are where your instincts tend
If
to
you're having
gravitate.
if you're having relationship problems, folks, that make your significant other choose between Abraham Lincoln and Dale Earnhardt, and
Yeah, you'll learn a
that'll really
lot.
that'll really smooth things out.
If you get upset with them, that might say something.
Sand or grease, come
I
on.
don't know. Our relationship depends upon this. Why the hell would you choose Grace? You disgust me.
Did that other whore choose sand? Is that why? Is that why, Billy?
I think what's funny though is you're like, if you make the list, you might end up feeling kind of strongly about what I would pick, and then potentially get annoyed at like me choosing something else, or like, come on, Daniel, you seriously gonna choose fire over wind? Like,
I
get
don't. I can't
creative.
see it. I can't imagine that. Like,
No,
if
I mean,
if
but you just have to reserve judgment in this, even for myself,
yeah,
because like I'm a little annoyed that like, oh, like why did we all have images of ourselves, or at least a lot of our choices sometimes I think are more aspirational. Like I choose
sure,
like this clothing or this song because it embodies what I want to be as much as who I am, right? Like this is what I want to be like. I want to be
sure.
perceived this way, so I'll make choices that will fulfill that. And then in gut check, I might just choose or whatever, this or that. I keep calling it gut check. It just it just it might be boring reasons like, oh yeah, like slides, I would rather go down a slide. you know
Yeah, yeah.
I'd
And
rather
part of
have a
that is
blanket right now.
part of it is up to me to choose interesting pairings, and some of them are gonna be they're gonna elicit boring comparisons like slide and jungle gym. So maybe that's not the best, but a couple sprinkled in is not so bad. I try to have at least some pairings with the potential for interesting metrics. So
I did this or that with my class recently, just
oh
as a
really?
like, yeah. But the thing is, and this class is still coming to their own. They're like pretty quiet, and they're not interested in. So for this segment to be interesting, I think that me in this case, the participant, needs to be like willing to be talkative and examine and like be
Definitely, yeah,
curious. And if I'm not, and I just go, I don't know, I just want to, then it's not. It just relies on people being interesting all around.
yeah.
And if it's not going to make someone who's boring. It's not going to make them interesting.
No,
And in fact, it might
definitely not.
reveal how boring they are. This is a
Yes.
revealing exercise more than a creating exercise. So
Well, the last time we did this or that, it was kind of as a lead in to rap or crap. That was kind of the hook of the
oh
title of that
yeah, and I was
episode.
very good at predicting it or something, right?
Right. Well, so what I did in that episode, I don't remember how many ago it was, but it was a while back. I, you know, as you know, I'm a big fan of rap music, and so I went and I found a bunch of rap songs, and I had different categories, and I wrote a rap song, or at least a portion of a rap song, and then I had two others that were real rap songs, and I read them to you, and I had you choose which one you thought was the one I wrote, or which ones you thought were real.
Yes.
And
And
to
did
my
I not
great
do it with
annoyance,
100%,
yeah,
100% accuracy?
to my great annoyance, you got every single one right. You were able to pick every single rap song that I wrote, and I tried really hard. And I personally think that some of my rap songs lyrics were excellent and fit right
Yes,
in. If
I
if they weren't,
agree with
they
you.
might
That's the thing.
they might have even been better
I
than some of the
know.
real
That's
rap
why it
songs.
annoyed you. Is because like you did this really good job, but like
You
it's more
somehow.
speaking to our friendship and my
Oh yeah.
and that's really what it was spoke to. I think.
I mean, you,
'Cause I was
you
like,
nailed
I
it.
was able to identify like that's just a little too good to be a real rapper.
Right.
Stuff
So
like that.
despite all of my efforts, like there's something about me. I would have never thought this. You probably would have never thought this. No one who knows me would have thought this. But there's something about me that just isn't exactly right to be a rapper.
You're right. No one would have. Yeah.
because you were able to just pick it out and tell. So, all right. So
Are you
rap,
telling me this is a
maybe
round two? Is this a round two of rap?
this is a round two of the same theme. So,
Okay.
rap,
And we've done
not with rap
poetry
though.
before. We did
No.
poetry.
Well,
This would be
this
the round
time,
three then
no,
of this.
it's not rap or crap. This time it's country or crock. So country or crock, right? It's the same kind of fits the pattern.
Okay. So the
Country
rules
or
are you're going to
crock.
read several lines, one of
Yes,
which you did, and I'm trying to pick
that's exactly
yours
right.
out. Okay.
Yes. So this time for country, so country's a little different than rap for a few reasons. Well, if I had to pick my favorite or my least favorite genres of quote unquote music, rap would definitely be the lowest. I don't know that I even consider it in the category of music. Country would be just above that. I'm not a fan of country. I I grew up. We both grew up in the South, and so country was everywhere. Our parents, certainly my parents, listened to country,
Yeah.
and as a kid I liked it, and then I kind of grew out of it, and I find it hard to listen to now. But that said, it does have some musical viability. Like there's actual musical talent in country
Yeah, why
music.
do you? So I'm going to guess really quick if I were to answer the rap question, is it is almost designed to offend the sensibilities, like both lyrically and musically. I would argue it's definitely music, by the way, in the same way like heavy metal, screaming stuff. It's definitely music. It's just hard to argue otherwise. But it's so pushing the limits and intentionally grating in some ways, and that's why there's a intentionally there's the intentionality behind the offensiveness. It works. It's like fine. It landed on me, but it's awful. Is your point about rap? Is
Yeah,
that
well,
fair? To
I mean, sort of. I mean, I don't categorize it as music, and yeah, I'm being a little provocative with that statement. But rap, it lacks almost all melody. It's all lyrical, and it's no melody. And I think that melody is a huge part of music. And without melody, I mean, yeah, some rap has these little beep 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 hooks and like goofy stuff, or they steal little melody
sample,
hooks
yeah.
from songs. They sample crap like that. But it's all lyrical, and that's annoying. And then yeah, the actual content is meant to be shocking, disgusting, or full of bravado, or it's meant to be provocative,
Right.
which I don't find appealing either. A contrast with that with country, where there actually is a musical component. I mean, some country songs are earworms. Like they get stuck in your head. After doing this exercise, I had country music stuck in my head, really unpleasantly for a couple of weeks that I've been working on this. Uh, and the content, the lyrical content, I, in a way, I link it to B movies because B movies, they're campy and corny, but I
And that's
like
high
them.
in country music, I would
It's
say.
very high. Country music is super campy and corny, and that's what I
Sipping
found real.
sweet tea on my tractor,
Yeah, yeah,
having a beer
exactly.
that,
I,
my wife left me,
yeah.
whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got it. You've already nailed everything about it. Like it's so like there is stereotypical country topics, and I laughed a lot when just looking at country song lyrics because I mean you could pick them, and that's why like I always thought I would be a great rap artist because rap has certain aspects of that, but country there's even more of that, and so I feel like I had a lot of leeway to choose topics to write country songs, and also finding country songs. So,
Well, I'm
however,
excited
I
for
think
this.
I think that it might be a little bit more difficult for me to fool you because you're already familiar with a lot of country songs. Now you're somewhat familiar with rap songs too, but we both grew up in the South, surrounded by country music. So there are some popular country songs that you're just gonna know, and so I couldn't use those.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly no, especially disembodied lyrics where you're just like, here's a couple of lines. I don't know. I mean, anyway, you're right that I mean, I listen to rap a whole lot too. So there's just so many songs out there, and I don't study it. So I'm
Yeah,
ready,
well,
man.
all right. So I scoured all of country music and I distilled down all of country music to five themes that I think kind of make up all of country music. And those themes are patriotism,
Yeah,
redneckisms,
interesting.
sentimentality, alcohol, and love. And I use the term love very loosely. Uh,
Alcohol
Those
gets its own brand. Like,
alcohol
wow.
might be the preeminent country category.
Wow.
Songs
Okay.
about beer, whiskey,
But like specific brand
drinking.
names probably too, right? Like my
Yeah,
PBR
the
or my
Bud
Bud
Light, my Natty
Light.
Light,
Yeah.
yeah, all of that. Like it's all there. Trucks
And
would also fit, but I put a lot under redneckisms, and trucks are one of the
it was a
things under
catch-all for redneck, like trucks
redneckisms.
and
Trucks, tractors, all
probably
that kind
like
of stuff.
sport, like NASCAR, like I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Now when I before I started looking at songs, I expected cheating to be its own category, but it seems like cheating, and maybe
Could
that's
fall under
gone out of.
love, by the way, or love
It
lost.
could, but like I actually did not come across as many cheating centered songs
Maybe
as
that's an
I
old
thought.
country. I mean, were you looking at more modern, or did you go all the way like
Last three decades ish.
Yeah, I'd still consider that a little like. I mean, there's stuff in like the probably the 50s
I mean,
and stuff. That,
there certainly is there are songs about cheating, but it just didn't seem to be that prominent, and that made me wonder. We don't have to discuss this, but it made me wonder, like, is cheating more common, and so now it's less special and therefore less deserving of a song, or is it less common in country circles and therefore people can't relate to it as much, and so
I
they're
think
not
it's
making
more
songs?
common they'd want to sing about it. Like that's just kind of the point of these
Well,
songs. It's just like I
that's what I
relate.
that's what I
I
thought, and
drink beer and get cheated on. So
that's why I expected there to be more cheating songs, but I was surprised that it wasn't that way. So, all right. Well, anyway, you ready to get into it?
I'm ready.
All right. So the first category is patriotism. That's what we're going to start off with, and I've got
Okay.
three snippets of songs, and I guess I'll read them all three of them, and then you can try to choose which one I wrote and
Okay.
which two are real. And I'm not going to sing these.
Right.
I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to recite them without
Okay.
any kind of like cadence or anything. So, all right, the first song is called "God, Guns, and Country." Theme
So
is
ridiculous.
patriotism.
Yeah.
Our freedom ain't free, and neither is our ammo. It's a lesson we learned in that fight at the Alamo. But with a
God.
little of God, but with a little of God's grace and a few men who were brave, we carried the day for the U.S. of A. Because we had God, guns, and country. We had guns, and country. Couldn't take our God, guns, or country, we declared. Now an evil cabal is trafficking people and coke across our long southern border. We didn't fix it, but it still broke. But with a little of God's grace and a fair election race, we can have our say in the U.S. of A. We've still got God, guns, and country. Yeah, we got God, guns, and country. Try to take our God, guns, or country if you dare.
Okay, man. God, guns, and country sounds like the three categories of. Well, anyway.
I mean, it sounds like I could have used that for the categories of country
Fair
or crock.
elections, immigration, like really touched on a lot of like, yeah, it was very political, very conservative politics, like,
Oh yeah.
and it's like hell yeah, God, guns, and country. It's just like an anthem of. Anyway, yeah, yeah.
All right, you
I
ready
don't know
for the
what to
next?
think other than I need perspective because that's so over the top that like it's
Well,
laughable, but I don't
right.
know if I'm assuming they're all going to be in this ballpark, so we'll see.
All right. Well, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
This one is called "Take a Knee, My Ass."
Man, so is this one going to be political? I don't know.
I
Go
don't know.
ahead.
Well, here's the lyrics. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I'll stand and place my hand upon my heart every time her anthem plays. When I see somebody on TV take their stand on bended knee, whether it's on astroturf or grass, I think of those whose freedom was not free, and I say, take a knee, my ass.
Oh man, that just I can't help but think of a discussion we had recently, and was that on your mind? And you wrote these lyrics. I don't know, but I mean, it tracks with the other one, so it's not any more ridiculous. But was this on your mind due to a conversation we recently had? That's my primary thought right now. Keep going. I want to hear the third one.
All right, third song is called I Rock and I Roll.
Okay.
This terror isn't man to man. They
Iraq
can,
as in Iraq,
yeah,
okay,
IRAQ,
okay,
the country, Iraq,
yeah.
and I roll. This terror isn't man to man. They can be no more than cowards. If they won't show us their weapons, we might have to show them ours. It might be a smart bomb. They find stupid people too, and if you stand with the likes of Saddam, one just might find you. I rock, I rack 'em up, and I roll. I'm back, and I'm a high tech G.I. Joe. I've got infrared, I've got GPS, and I've got that good old fashioned lead. There's no price too high for freedom, so be careful where you tread.
Oh man, yeah. This idea of freedom and God, country, guns. I rock and I roll, and take a knee my ass. um,
I mean, I hope that it sinks in that two of these are real.
I know. This is just that's the fun. That's the humor in this. And then
Yes.
can you cleverly? Then there's some satisfaction in like mimicking, but
Yeah, yeah.
the real humor. Like there's some awe in that you wrote one of these and it's great. And then but the humor is clearly from the two are real.
Yeah.
I think well, it's funny to say this, but I think the take a knee my ass is the most ridiculous, which I think you would say, oh, Daniel would avoid like for first one out, he wouldn't choose the most ridiculous because it just you would want to nestle yourself safely in the middle. But no, I think I'm sticking with the take a knee my ass as being being the Bennett creation, and that's my answer.
You're wrong. You're
Oh,
wrong.
you got me.
I got you. I finally got one. Yes. We're off on a good
Okay.
first step. All right, so that one was wrong. So of the remaining two, which one do you think?
I don't know why, but I could picture the first one. Maybe it's the fact that you repeated the lines. So I think you created I Rock and I Roll. I think you created that one.
Wrong. I did God, Guns, and Country. God, Guns, and Country by Bennett.
Well, dang, man. So that's the one I thought was the most real, and you did it. So I might have to recalibrate for myself and go choose the one I feel is the most real. I mean, I swear, when there was in the back of my mind, and I wasn't sure enough, I would tell you if I just straight up knew the song, I would tell you. But I was like, I really did think, like, I don't know that I've heard that one, but man, I can just, when you were saying it, I'm like picturing it on the radio. Like I was like, man, maybe I have heard that one. So, because there's one that's like, put a boot in your ass. It's the American way or something.
Yeah, that's courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. That was on my list, but I was like, that's too easy. It's a gimme. Like everyone knows that song.
Yeah, yeah. And so maybe I was linking it so strongly that I was like, it's not that song, but okay, good job, man. You got me thoroughly on that one.
Take a Knee, My Ass was by Neil McCoy, and I Rock and I Roll was by Clint Black in 2003. Take a Knee, My Ass was 2020. So.
Yeah.
All right, next category is love, and I use the term very loosely after reading country music lyrics. Oh my god, holy crap! There are some absolutely horrendous country songs.
I mean, just like pop,
especially
like pop.
especially
deeper than
modern
pop's
country.
View on love, yeah, it's pop.
Oh,
it's
geez.
so blended with pop. It's probably the same of like, baby, put on some jeans shorts. I don't know. Like,
All right, well, don't get carried away. All right.
Okay.
All right. First song is called. The title is "Corn Star."
Corn star. Okay, like porn star, but corn. Okay.
No, you won't see her on the cover of Playboy magazine. Oh, she's too busy getting dirty in a field of green. She's a corn star. Talk of the crop at every county fair. Corn star. Blue ribbon winner for the last 5 years. They cut a 4-lane highway right through her pasture, blamed it on progress and moving traffic faster. But everybody knows the only reason for the road was to see her jug-a-lugging on top of that tractor. She's a corn star.
I think that's real. I don't know why. I've not heard it. I just think it's so. And sometimes this is where I'm gonna guess Bennett is worse. Like your inherent desire to make things make sense. I think it's hard for you to replicate that. You can replicate things very well. So all the compliments in the world go to you and your ability. But like where I think Bennett would struggle is the ability to be a little bit incoherent. And there were just some lines in there. It's just a little like. It's kind of like the Ice Spider's nice rack joke, the killer elements. It just doesn't really make sense. And I think that's harder for you. And so there was enough of that in there. And if I'm not wrong, like what, like landing, like building a highway. I don't know. It just, okay. It was good. It was great. It was weird. But I don't think it was you. I think it was real. So keep going.
All right. The next one is called Trailer Tramp Anthem. She's got that double wide pride, hips swaying, jeans fraying, barefoot outside, brown roots and blonde tips by the above ground pool taking sips and looking at me, driving me crazy, driving me crazy, driving me crazy. If she's trailer trash, then without a doubt, call me the garbage man, 'cause I'll take her out. Woo.
What was the last word?
Woo.
Okay.
Woo.
Woo.
It's just a woo,
Yeah.
real country woo before the fiddle solo or something, I'm sure.
Got it. Okay. I mean, that feels real too. I don't know anymore, man. I don't have any metrics right now that I'm going on. So read me the next one.
All right. The last one in the love category is called Fancy Like. All right. A, my girl is banging. She's so low maintenance. Don't need no champagne poppin' entertainment. Take her to Wendy's. Can't keep her off me. She want to dip me like them fries in her Frosty. But every now and then, when I get paid, I gotta spoil my baby with an upgrade. A. Yeah, we fancy like Applebee's on a date night. Got that Bourbon Street steak with the Oreo shake. Get some whipped cream on the top too. 2 straws, 1 check. Girl, I got you. Bougie like Natty in the styrofoam. Squeaking in the truck bed all the way home. Some Alabama jamma. She's my Dixieland delight. Hey, that's how we do. Fancy like, oh. Fancy like, oh. Fancy like, oh. Fancy like, oh.
Wow. This feels like a modern. I mean, that could have been the rap song with a few negotiated lyrics that were, peppered in for specific country flavor. But the tackiness, and even the O's and the A's and but that's what makes me think it's real, is because rap, like pop rap and pop country have. I think that the worlds are so blended. Like pop has just been this sort of encroaching into both of those genres to the point that like I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, Bennett, because I think that's real too. And so I feel like the most confident that that's real. And I was wrong last time, so maybe I should just choose it. But remind me of A again, or
Corn Star.
Corn Star. I think that's real too. I think and Trailer Tramp Anthem. I'm choosing that as the one you wrote, and I think I'm right about this. I feel like more confident than last time. I don't know why. We'll see. I don't feel more confident.
You got it.
I did. Okay.
You got it.
Can I hear the one you wrote again really quickly? Do you mind reading it quickly?
Yeah. She's got that double wide pride, hips swaying, jeans fraying, barefoot outside, brown roots and blonde tips by the above ground pool taking sips and looking at me, driving me crazy, driving me crazy, driving me crazy. This is my favorite line of perhaps the entire exercise. If she's trailer trash, then without a doubt, call me the garbage man, because I'll take her out.
That's so good. That's so good. And the above ground pool, I think, is where I started to get suspicious. Not because it is so true that above ground pools and trashiness, and yes, but I also don't think like it's a little too self-aware in that, not that they would be ashamed of saying it, they would say it, but they don't even recognize, like, really, like they don't recognize, they don't even have to, if they're trying to acknowledge, if you've got an above ground pool, that's a little fancy. Just saying you have a pool, they would just say pool. They wouldn't say above ground. They'd say pool, and they don't. Yeah, but
the song is from the perspective of a man who has fallen in love with a woman, or at least she's caught his eye, who is perceived as trailer trash, and he
I mean,
doesn't
what can I
care.
say? I don't know. You're right.
He
I don't
Listen, I
know.
don't feel like you're coming to grips with the emotional intensity of this song and where it's really coming from. All right, because like this man, he's fallen for this woman who society does not appreciate. They don't appreciate her charms, and she's taking sips by the above ground pool. She's got the brown roots and blonde tips thing going on, and I don't know, she's driving him crazy, driving him crazy, driving him crazy.
The repetition is good too because you have to make it
Make
sound
it
like
sound
a
like a
song.
song. Yeah. Corn Star, I can't believe it's real.
I thought it was almost too risky for you to write is kind of where I was at. Like that's over the top, which made me think it was real. Which is I know the mind games of this particular game and exercise that you're actually finding Cornstar is real. And the last one was I right about
Yeah, the last one
Fancy
is
Like? Is it very rapish almost? Like does
yeah,
this
it's
song
by
like
Walker Hayes in 2021, and I have to say I listened to this entire song, and it's the worst thing I've heard ever since I did rapper crap. This is horrendous. I would never wish this on anyone. Don't listen to this. It's horrible. And if you like it, I don't like you. Like it's terrible. It is terrible.
is it like
Corn.
on the radio kind of stuff or is this like very
I don't know.
no.
I'm not sure, but it was bad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's got to be on the radio. They probably
Did it
play
have a rap? Did some of these songs have like a rapper in them to do some sort of verse?
This one didn't, but he sounded like he was a knockoff redneck rapper kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah.
It was bad. Don't listen to it.
So I was totally spot on with that.
Yeah, you nailed this one. And honestly, this one I thought you might get for a lot of the reasons you gave. And the garbage man line, like I knew that it would tip my hand, but it was so good that I couldn't not put it in. Like actually, I was taking a shower when I thought of that line, and I was like, well, that's got to go in. Like it's got to go in.
Really
And
good.
I immediately I was like, I can't forget this line. So like I got out of the shower, and before I even got dressed, I came and logged into the computer and like wrote the line so I wouldn't
You
forget
sped
it. So,
up your shower because this came to you.
yes, because of this. Yeah. All right. The next category is alcohol.
All right.
So the first song is called Wine and Whiskey. It's been a long day working in the fields. Tractor broke down and my back kills. When I walk in the door, thank God for making AC. Kick off my boots, sit down and turn on that TV. But then here she comes, and on she goes, complaining about something where I mixed up the colored clothes. We got bills, and the kids are ill. One's got a rash, the other's got a runny nose. I didn't put down the lid. I didn't put the lid down. Her car makes a loud sound, and if that wasn't enough, the neighbor looked at her funny again. Well, since I got home, she ain't even kissed me. If she's gonna whine, I need a whiskey. If she's gonna whine, I need a whiskey. I need a whiskey.
Oh man, that's so classic. If you wrote that, good job, because I'm picturing that as a real song for sure. Because I'm noticing this whole like I rock and I roll, like they want it's that turn, that misdirection that like
Oh yeah.
country music loves this sort of simple comedy misdirection.
Simple play on words,
Yeah.
light puns. Yeah, misdirection.
And fits all with just
Country tropes.
in these categories, these country tropes. Yeah, that was good.
All right, next one is Get My Drink On.
God,
I'm gonna
sounds
get
like
my
another rap one again.
I'm gonna get my drink on. I want to hear me a sad song. My baby just left home. I didn't treat her right. Right here's where I belong. I'm gonna stay till the money's gone. If it takes me all night long, I'm gonna get my drink on. Well, Joe the bartender, she's a mighty good friender, and she likes my company. When she says last call for alcohol, that won't apply much to me.
Okay, I don't have much to say because it sounded like a country song.
All right.
Did you say Joe the bartender?
Joe the bartender, yeah.
And then the next line was
She's a mighty good friender. Joe, J-O.
Okay, yeah.
All right, the third one is You Don't Know Jack.
Okay.
He asked me for $1. I said, go get a job. I turned up my collar and started walking off. He said, I don't blame you. I know what you think. I'd just spend your money to buy another drink. But you don't know Jack. Double shot, 80 proof, on the rocks, until you've lost it all, and you can't go back. to your life and your kids and your ex-wife with just a telephone call. If you think it's just a bottle in an old brown paper sack, you don't know Jack.
That's good. I'm a little bit lost here. You say like you try not to. I almost want to ask questions. You don't have to answer this, but like if you were looking up song lyrics and then writing them, it's like my thought process is that you came across, you started to see the pattern like I did. Oh, these simple, everything we just said, those simple turns, and then that you don't know Jack came to you, and it fit like that. It was just like, okay, that's a good one. You don't know Jack is a nice turn. And that's why I'm going to choose that one as you wrote that one.
Well, you're wrong. That is
dang.
a 2011 song by Luke Bryan, who I think is a quarterback for a professional football team.
This explains you said that recently.
All right, so between the other two, which do you think is real, and which one do you think?
Give me the titles.
Wine and Whiskey and Get My Drink On.
I think you wrote Get My Drink On.
Wrong again. I wrote Wine and Whiskey.
You did Wine and Whiskey? Good for you, man.
If she's gonna whine, I need a whiskey. That's a good song. I should make that
really good. I mean,
should make that a real song.
You've got me thoroughly fooled twice now. Like that one, I was the most confident. I mean, that's what I'm essentially saying is like I'm the most confident. That's the real one. So
nailed it. Yeah, Get My Drink On was a 2007 Toby Keith song.
If she's gonna whine, I need a whiskey. Like that's so good. That's so country, man.
It's very country.
That needs to be a country song.
So, I thought you might actually get this one because the verse is pretty corny, like about a wife complaining about mixing up the colored clothes and not putting the lid down.
The colored clothes. I believe the lid down. The colored clothes should have been assigned to me. Actually, the lid down sounds like this is a man we complain about. And so is the colored clothes, but that just feels a little more...
Well, this is one that when I was writing it, like I could hear it. I could hear the song in my head, especially the line, "If that wasn't enough, the neighbor looked at her funny again," which doesn't rhyme with anything. It's just in there, and I can just hear this nasal, country twangy voice. Like that's the line that like leads off into the chorus. If that wasn't enough, the neighbor looked at her funny again. And really drawing out that again for a long way, and then the chorus hits.
I can picture the if she's gonna whine, I need
a whiskey.
Yeah, just like really. Yeah. If she's gonna whine, I need a whiskey. It demands to be a song. I think it could be a song tomorrow, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, look for me on the top 40.
Yeah, man, that should be a song. I feel anyway. I'm shocked it's not a song. I give you that. Like I'm like thinking, did you pick up on that accidentally? Like, was there a whine? Like
no.
The whining and the whiskey is so good.
All right. The next category is sentimentality. So that's a pretty broad category, but I'm sure you can think of
about dogs dying or like kids going off. I don't know if it's kids going off to college, but like times are changing kind of thing.
Yep, all that stuff. Yeah, you got it. That's exactly what it is. Tons of songs have this motif where the first verse is about a child, the middle verse is about a teenager or a man, and the last verse is about an old man or something, like the passage of time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So many songs.
There hasn't been fishing hasn't been as prominent as I thought. I thought it would be more prevalent. Right. Anyway.
All right. The first one is "You're Gonna Miss This."
Okay.
5 years later, obviously this is in the middle of the song. 5 years later, there's a plumber working on the water heater. Dogs barking, phones ringing, one kid's crying, one kid's screaming. She keeps apologizing. He says, "They don't bother me. I've got 2 babies of my own. One's 36, one's 23. It's hard to believe, but you're going to miss this. You're going to want this back. You're going to wish these days hadn't gone by so fast. These are some good times, so take a good look around. You may not know it now, but you're going to miss this. You're going to miss this. Yeah, you're going to miss this."
It wasn't that good, but it tracks with country music, and I think you just wouldn't produce it, so I think it's real. I'm just giving you my play-by-play thoughts, so
No,
that's
that's
how
good.
I feel.
All right, the next one is called I Drive Your Truck.
I what?
I drive your truck.
I just leaned forward into the mic as if I was going to hear it better when you said that. Just, I drive your truck.
I drive your truck. Like
Okay,
I drink
go
your
ahead.
milkshake, I guess, but I don't know. All right. 89 cents in the ashtray, half empty bottle of Gatorade rolling in the floorboard, that dirty Braves cap on the dash, dog tags hanging from the rear view, old skull can and cowboy boots, and a Go Army shirt folded in the back. This thing burns gas like crazy, but that's all right. People got their ways of coping. Oh, and I've got mine. I drive your truck. I roll every window down, and I burn up. Every back road in this town. I find a field, I tear it up, till all the pain's a cloud of dust. Yeah, sometimes I drive your truck.
That that has some substance to it. Um, I feel like you were channeling David a little bit. This is why I mean, obviously, I'm revealing that I think you may have wrote this. I think it has some substance, that doesn't mean. When I say substance, I just find it interesting to go take someone's truck or vehicle and drive it around and like consider things. I mean, there was something a little. It just felt deeper, even though it was the physical descriptions were there and it relied on that primarily, but it allowed the listener to sort of fill in the blank of like, what's it like to just go driving and thinking, which I just think that was pretty good. So I'm thinking you did that, but let me hear the last one.
All right, the last one is called Man's Best Friend.
Okay.
All right, when that slut Teresa broke my heart. Sorry, it's hard to get through that line. When that slut Teresa broke my heart, I was 6 drinks in, lying in the dark. I was totally alone, but then he threw me a bone, nuzzled up, brown eyes shining like he knew my pain, telling me wordlessly that I was strong and could carry on. Hunting deer or drinking a beer, I took him everywhere, and now he's not there. He was my good boy, the best boy. Now I'm looking at his old chew toy, and he's gone. Left me alone. Left me alone. If all dogs go to heaven, maybe I'll see him again one day. He was my best friend. Sorry, getting choked up a little bit.
That ending, sort of the rhyming. Did I miss the rhyming at the end? It just didn't.
That doesn't really rhyme.
See,
A lot of songs don't have.
I know. I've noticed that. I just have to kind of go, okay, I can't expect a rhyme. It's not the way. Yeah. Well, now I think you wrote that one too. I have to pick one. Hold on, because the reason I think you picked that one is just because it's pretty cartoony about this dog and helping out and starting off. The word slut's pretty strong, and I can't imagine that kind of getting. I mean, I know obviously songs can curse. I picture country.
Yeah, I found
being
some
more
pretty.
radio-friendly.
I found some
Pretty dirty ones.
like dirty. Yeah, like just not
The
radio
word
friendly country
slut
songs.
has really fallen out of like, I don't know how bad that word is, but I think it's pretty strong. Like if you use it, like there's the we're gonna champion it and be sluts and proud or
Yeah, but
but
this
it's a
is
pretty
also-
ugly word, and this
it's
is
also
meant
country
to be
music,
ugly,
so-
and it's country, and it's like it's pretty ugly to me. Like it has the feel to it. So anyway, I don't want to get stuck on that. I don't. The primary times I've heard it in my recent life have been from Bennett's mouth. It's so funny. Not that
That's
you
funny.
use it so much.
I'm trying to think of when I've used the word.
You don't use it
other
much.
than this context. I'm talking about loose,
if
dirty
if you're being
sluts.
funny, you'll just say sluts. Like you'll
Oh,
just really
yeah.
drag it out, and like that's. But you're the only like I don't hear it otherwise. So.
I really
just
like
being
that
honest.
I really like that I'm the only source. Your only source of the word slut. I hope to
Yeah.
keep it that way.
And so I might unduly associate that
Me with
you.
sluts. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. What was the second one again? My brain's.
I drive your truck. I drive your truck.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that one. Like you made sure to get the skull can and the Go Army T-shirt, but you were like inspired. You were like having some fun with like the car, like
Gatorade
David's-
bottle, Braves cap.
Yes, I just couldn't resist with that, so I think you did that one.
Wrong.
Dang, which one did you do?
I
You did
did
the
I
slut
did
one.
man's best friend. Yeah, man. I did the slut
Yeah,
Teresa. Yeah,
I should have stayed with that. But the
yeah.
bottle stuff was just so like, oh,
It's
that's got
real.
to be where he pulled it from.
It's real. And like also, I think well, so the song is about, from what I gather, it's about someone I guess whose dad or some loved one died, and he goes and drives his truck around,
That
in a
vehicle, but
sentimental
still,
fashion.
yeah. Oh,
And
that's
there's another verse that was good too, and I don't want to put the whole song or have it be really long, so I only chose one verse. And this one with the really specific stuff, the Gatorade bottle, the Braves cap, skull can,
yeah.
go on me shirt, all that stuff. I love, like, that's a country music trope, right? Pick a tiny detail and write a song about it. And so that I thought this was a really good example of that.
I like that as a. I mean, I think that's what poetry ultimately does. Is it
Right.
says.
Yeah.
I mean, the imagery is really strong there, and you're right. I think country music does it, and so I just you got me. I mean, I
I'm surprised. I thought that you would get this one right just
me
because.
too. I'm a little mad at myself. I should have
Yeah.
just said, look, like that was just by chance, like the slut thing. Even though like that just felt like you wrote that, and the dog thing was a little over the top.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how I'm really sentimental about dogs and all. So
But where you're good, where
this
you're
one really
good
hit
is
me.
you throw me even by like not having the rhyme too perfect. Sometimes you just don't have it rhyme. You
Dude,
know?
I learned from rapper crap. I'm
Okay.
telling you, I'm a new man. I'm a new man, and
Yeah.
you can't sweep me like you did before.
Hats off to you. I should have gotten that one though. I almost want to put it in my, but like look, I was wrong. I went in with the junky car. So and now
All
that I
right,
understand it better, like okay, yeah,
last category, redneckisms. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, the first one is called Alabama Fashion. I got that roll tide red tie camouflage suit. I got that snapback trucker hat and cowboy boots. She's got that skin tight off white cut off tee. She's got them farm worn denim torn low cut blue jeans. We've got that Alabama fashion. We're the talk of the town. Some think we're the height of style. Some think we're rodeo clowns. But down here in the land that God blessed, you know a country pair's gotta have country dress. Hell yeah.
God, that's country is bad. I think that was real, and I think it was bad.
All
I
right,
can
well,
picture that as this the. I mean, it's funny when you're saying them. I can picture this very pop version. You know, like I guess we've talked like someone from the hood, so to speak, and someone from like a trailer park. Like they're cut from very similar cultural cloths, you know, and so they rap and sing about similar things. You know, wanting. I mean, although there's clearly like there's this urban and country. I mean, that's a very different thing, but a lot of it's just not that different when it's like flash their own version of flashiness and
right.
wanting to gain social status and their versions of what is sexy being being at the forefront of the music. It's just interesting how they're not that different. Yeah.
All right, well, don't lose all hope yet.
Okay.
The next one is called Truck Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so horrible. Go ahead.
Got Lil Wayne pumping on my iPod, thumping on the subs in the back of my crew cab, redneck rocking like a rock star, sling a little mud off the back, we can do that. Friday night football, Saturday last call, Sunday hallelujah. If you like it up loud and you're hillbilly proud, then you know what I'm talking about. Let me hear you say, truck yeah, wanna get it jacked up yeah, let's crank it on up yeah. With a little bit of luck, I can find me a girl with a truck yeah. We can love it on up yeah, till the sun comes up yeah. And if you think this life I love is a little too country, truck yeah.
That feels real too, and it pisses me off even more. Like it's just one step further of everything. Like it just elevated my frustration because, and I think it's real, and I feel confident it's real because saying Lil Wayne at the beginning would have been. I just think that's weird to evoke rap in your country music song as if that's what we listen to, but that's true. I think rednecks listen to country and rap, and I think you would have shied away from evoking rap as strongly as this did, and this is just acknowledging the blend is so close, and this sort of championing of redneckisms. It just, God, that was just awful. Yeah.
All right, well, the third one is called Kiss My Country Ass.
Okay.
Tearing down a dirt road, rebel flag flying, coon dog in the back, truck bed loaded down with beer, and a cold one in my lap. Earnhardt sticker behind my head, and my woman by my side. Tailpipes poppin', the radio's rockin', country boy can survive. If you got a problem with that, haha, you can kiss my country ass.
I just don't know anymore. Read the first one, if you don't mind.
The first one,
Yeah, yeah.
Alabama Fashion.
Yes. Oh, it was longer, but yeah, go quickly if you.
I got that roll tide red tie camouflage suit. I got that snapback trucker hat and cowboy boots. She's got that skin tight off white cut off tee. She's got them farm worn denim torn low cut blue jeans. We've got that Alabama fashion. We're the talk of the town. Some think we're the height of style. Some think we're rodeo clowns. But down here in the land that God blessed, you know a country pair's got to have country dress. Hell yeah.
Man, could be you, but the third one was short. Can I hear it one more time?
Tearing down a kiss my country ass. Tearing down a dirt road, rebel flag flying, coon dog in the back, truck bed loaded down with beer and a cold one in my lap. Earnhardt sticker behind my head and my woman by my side. Tailpipes poppin', the radio's rockin', country boy can't survive. If you got a problem with that, haha, you can kiss my country ass.
I'm gonna go with that one being yours, and it's the Earnhardt sticker on the head, or above my head. I guess it's like on the glass on the picture of the. I don't know, but I just think you did it. I think this is you.
Wrong. Incorrect.
Oh man, you. So then you did the first one, because I'm just confident the second one was just horrible, and if you did the second one, I'm impressed.
No, I didn't. I did Alabama Fashion.
Yeah, like I thought you could do that one, but I just thought when you talk, the rhyme scheme was just off enough, and man, good job, man.
Alabama
Really.
Fashion. I was really proud of that one, even though it's a terrible song and I
The
hate it.
snapback, using the word snapback made me think you did it too. By the way, it was that.
Then you're gonna love this. There's an entire song about snapback, about a girl wearing a snapback hat called something like Snapback, and I almost included
country
it.
Song?
Yeah, I heard it.
Wow.
Actually, that was the impetus for me doing country or crock. Like it's what brought it back into my mind because I forget where I was. I was in a store and that song was on the radio and I heard it and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? A song about a snapback hat? I have to include this in. I have to do rap or crap, but with country, and I have to include this song." But when I looked at the lyrics, yeah, I mean, the snapback that was really bad, but the rest of the lyrics, it just wasn't. It didn't stand up to the rest. It didn't stand up to the rest.
It's a really fun game. If you should do a funny heavy metal or emo one or something. Like there's any genre can be, the caricatures of that genre are like hilarious.
I really like it. It's a lot of fun. I think it will get harder with different genres.
It takes a long time. You have to put a lot of work into it, but it is funny, man.
I really enjoyed this one, the country.
You really
Crock.
fooled me too. I mean,
how many did you get? You got 2 of them, I think. 2 of 5.
I got 2 of 5 correct, so I failed. This was my first failure, I think.
Well, it looks like we lost Daniel. Daniel's computer hard drive filled up totally, and he couldn't record anymore. But luckily, we were basically at the end anyway. So thankfully, it managed to capture all the song guesses. I'm really pretty pleased now that Daniel's not on the podcast anymore. I can gloat a little bit. And I managed to turn things around from Rap or Crap, where he guessed every single one of mine. And this one, he guessed 1 out of 5, and I managed to trick him for the other 4. So obviously, my place in the world is as a country music artist. So listen for my album. I'll probably have a song about a tractor. Probably I'll include some of the songs from this podcast. I'll probably add a few more. Maybe something about fishing. Daniel made a good call, and that there weren't any good country songs about fishing. So I'll have to write a good fishing country song. So, but that's it. Country or crock. Most of them, I managed to fool Daniel. So I'm pretty pleased about that. That's all. That's all. I have to do the ending all alone. Weird. Dun 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 dun. The country.